Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tact, and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video and would like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe. The goal of my YouTube channel is to promote wellness through home cooking, not just for physical wellness, but also for psychological, social, and environmental wellness. Today, as everybody knows, that we face a serious health crisis in this country because of the overconsumption of calories in fast and processed food. And the solution to this problem is actually quite simple. That is to cook all the food yourself using all fresh ingredients. However, this is simpler to say than it is done. So the goal of my YouTube channel is to provide you with applications in combination with the principles and theories behind it. From my personal experience, I realized that home cooking will only work if it is practical, efficient, rapid, economical, as well as tasting good. And also, it definitely will not hurt if it is interesting as well as fun and creative. So over the years, I work on to develop a cooking system that will work for me first before I could help other people to adopt this system. One key part of this cooking system is using the wok in stir frying. I'm going to show you how a novel way to use the wok, which I have never used before. I would like to tell you a story about my childhood. I grew up at a time when parasitic worms are quite common, things like tapeworms. When I was about 8 years old, my parents decided that they would take me to a physician and have me check out. After doing some physical exam as well as some diagnostic tests, they came to the conclusion that most likely that I was infected by tapeworm. So the medicine for treating my tapeworm is a Chinese traditional medicine treatment, and one of the components of this treatment is pumpkin seed. So the instruction was given to the lady who was working for us at the time. I will call her Jay for the purpose of this video. She's somebody who I deeply admired. She was an excellent cook, and she was given the task to prepare the pumpkin seed for me. She would purchase fresh pumpkin from the market, and when she took it back to our home, and she would remove the pumpkin seed. She would then wash them, dry them, and stir fry them. And she would then also lightly season the seed. I remember the seed is crunchy, crispy, and makes a wonderful snack. I certainly did not like the other part of the Chinese traditional medicine treatment, but the pumpkin seed part, I really went for it. Since that period, I really never eat pumpkin seed again. However, I really enjoy pumpkin seeds. Anytime when I think about pumpkin seeds, that memory came back to me. After I got married, the pumpkin seed came back into my life. My wife really enjoyed Halloween as a festival. She enjoyed the fall season. She loves the cool night. She would sit outside, either at the porch with a lighted pumpkin. And so for many years, after she carved the pumpkin, she will discard the seeds. One year, I decided I would ask her to save the seed for me, and I will cook them because it reminds me that period when I eat lots of pumpkin seeds. My wife is a physician. When I told her that the pumpkin seed is used for treating tapeworms, she did not believe me. It turned out that pumpkin seed is not only used for treating tapeworms in China, but it is also in the United States during the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Now in the beginning, I was not sure how to cook the pumpkin seed. I remember Jay used to stir fry them, but at that time, I was not very good in using the wok. So I found a recipe to roast the pumpkin seed in the oven. It did not taste exactly the same, but it was good enough, and I enjoyed it very much. I still remember one year after Halloween, I was at a store. They were selling pumpkins at 50 cents a piece. I was so excited because I feel that I could not pass up this good deal. So I took our truck and went to the store and I bought 10 pumpkins. Of course, my wife thought I was pretty crazy, but she said, well, maybe after you take out the seed, we can use those pumpkins to make compost. Actually, digging out the seeds was the easy part. The hard part is that how to dry them and eventually to roast them in the oven. Ever since I started teaching cooking classes as well as the YouTube channel, I become more aware of all the possibilities that I can use the wok for. This then reminds me the time when Jay was using the wok to cook the pumpkin seed for me when I was a child. After I giving it some thought, I realized that this actually is going to be a much better way to cook the pumpkin seed than roasting them in the oven. After I clean up the seeds and removing the fibers from the seeds, I decided I'm going to dry them slightly differently this time. I used to put the pumpkin seed on a flat cookie sheet and dry them in the oven under low heat. I generally set the oven temperature to about 150 degrees Fahrenheit. The problem with that is if I have a lot of pumpkin seeds, I could not dry them effectively. Partly because of the space limitation in the oven, I will run out of space. So for this time, I decided I'm going to dry it in the wok because by putting them in the wok, I can easily to stir them and to help dry them a little bit faster. So I used my 14-inch stainless steel wok for this purpose, and it worked out really well. I would then stir the content about every 30 minutes, and it dries really rapidly in about 4 to 5 hours. I then roast the pumpkin seeds in the oven. So in the past, I would set the oven temperature to about 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will put a little bit of olive oil on top of the pumpkin seed. And then I will add some seasonings. In the past, I use either salt and pepper, or sometimes I use some additional seasonings. I usually bake them for probably about 40 minutes, and then I would turn them about once or twice during this period. It turned out that turning the pumpkin seeds on the flat cookie sheet is not easy at all. So my decision is that would it be simpler if I simply put in the wok, and then I will cook them on top of the stove, and by using the wok spatula, I can turn them much easier. Furthermore, I could also include a much larger amount of seeds in the wok. In many ways, this is just another form of stir frying. It turned out that this method cooked the pumpkin seed much faster because of the direct heat contact. However, as you can see, it is important to keep stirring them to prevent them from getting burned. I usually set the heat to medium. If I see that it is getting too hot, then I will lower the heat. In about a few minutes, you can tell that the pumpkin seeds are being cooked because they start to get brown. At this point, I start to add the seasoning to the pumpkin seeds. I'm going to, in this case, use my basic seasoning mix. The basic seasoning mix has a lower salt, but it has other seasoning agents to give the pumpkin seed more complex and subtle flavor. I stir the content for about a couple more minutes, and now it is done. The total cook time for stir frying this pumpkin seed is about 10 minutes. It was a great success. I really enjoy it, and I think the flavor actually better than when it is being roasted in the oven. Furthermore, I don't need to put too much oil at all, which I use olive oil, just enough to keep the pumpkin seed a little bit oily. So because of this success, I decided I'm going to go buy 2 more pumpkins. Well, my wife told me that now we have 2 additional pumpkins. Would you mind carve them for me? I told her that that is not a problem at all. But you can tell in comparison to her carving, my 2 carved pumpkins doesn't look very good at all. Maybe perhaps I thought that if I did a terrible job, she would never ask me to do that again. Surprisingly, she thought that was okay because it made her carved pumpkin look better. I decided I want to get this video out before Halloween. So if you're going to carve a pumpkin, you can try to stir fry your pumpkin seed. Use this method. So through this exercise, I have added another cooking function to my repertoire in cooking in the wok. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like icon below because this will help me to expand my audience base. If you'd like to receive notifications of my future video postings, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you next time.